Hi guys, good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Park Tech Summit. My name is Mariam and I'm the moderator for today's session, which is building the right tools, talent, and infrastructure in data sciences. To briefly introduce myself, I work as marketing manager at one of the biggest data analytics companies, and I work as Toronto chapter lead at PWIC. PWIC is Pakistani Women in Computing, who is the co-sponsor of today's event. Just to brief you about the event details, we have decided to keep 10 minutes for introductions, 35 minutes discussion, 15-minute question answers. You can drop your questions in the chat, and we will take those in towards the end of the discussion. There is also a disclaimer that everyone who's participating in this session is here in their personal capacity. So any views that we express are of our own and do not represent any of our organizations or professional associations. Moving to our speakers, we have three excellent speakers present over here, which is Sarah Uppal, who's one of them is Sarah Uppal, who is a data scientist at TELUS. Then we have Sarah Farooq, who's another data scientist at TELUS in the making. And then we have Yasser, who works as manager analytics at PwC. So I'll move on to our speakers to introduce themselves. Sarah Uppal, can we go with you first?
Yeah. So as Mariam very probably put, that I'm a data scientist working at a telecom. I started my career as a telecom engineer in Ufone in Pakistan, and then moved on to different roles, and finally I've ended up here as a data scientist in another telecommunication company. It has been a very interesting journey, which I'll talk about later.
Great. And the next one is Sarah Farooq. You can go next.
Okay. Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. So I came to Canada to do my master's, and I started my career here in Canada. I started as a software developer in one of the banks here, and after that I joined a telco here from their fresh grad program, and currently I'm working as a data scientist.
Awesome. And Yasser, you?
Yep. Hi guys. My name is Yasser. So I've been working with management consulting for a while now, with mostly the top big four firms, and currently I'm leading the analytics practice with PwC for the GTA team.
Awesome. So starting off the session, I would also want to brief you guys that since our maximum audience is Pakistani students, professionals, or people abroad, so we will keep this session as a mix of English and Urdu, so that so our audience can get most out of it. And moving on to the first question, I would want to know, how did you guys enter the industry, and how did you guys decide on a career in data sciences? Sarah, you can go first in the same order.
Right. So for me, I did my engineering from NAD University, Karachi. It was a mix of electronics and telecommunications, and I joined Ufone right after it as an RF optimization engineer. And there, although it was supposed to be a network role, what my role was more into data. I was maintaining the database that was supposed to keep track of what are the tower heights, the telecom towers. And I was also in charge of reporting. At that time, I used to feel, man, I'm not doing technical enough work, but that's what my role was. That's what I was hired for. And then later on, after that, I took some break for child rearing, and after that, I joined, started doing my master's in UBC. Came to Canada, started my master's, and midway through master's, I realized that data is something I have been doing, I have experience in. My master's should not be in communications, and I completely switched my master's to AI and machine learning. Mm-hmm. And during that master's, I got a chance to work as a co-op student in one of the telcos. They realized that I do have some domain knowledge, which is coupled with some data science it seemed very valuable to them. At that point, they just said, if you ever want to come back after finishing your master's, you can come back to our company. And that's what happened. Before I finished my master's, I got in touch with with the manager that I did co-op with, and they were interested. They had a headcount, so that's how I ended up in this position.
That's awesome. An exciting story. Do you have more to add to it? Or sorry, I thought like I was cutting you in between.
No, that was the end of.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to Sarah Farah.
So I graduated from NUST. I did my bachelor's in engineering from there. Right after graduating from there, I came to Canada for my master's in 2016. Again, for my master's, I did it in electrical and computer engineering, and like my major was in communication theory and signal processing. After graduation, I joined one of the banks here. So because I had no prior experience, I joined through their fresh grad program, and I was working there as a software developer, like mostly doing front end stuff. And I just spent like 6 months in the bank, and after that I joined the telco. Again, I joined through their fresh grad program, so it was a rotational program. I did a rotation in one of the wireless teams, and after that I started my second rotation, which was more in, like the team was more focused on data science. So right now I'm currently in that team and working in data science.
Nice, what an inspiring story. Yasser, you?
Yeah, sure. I did my graduation from Australia in information systems. Then I was working for Nestle there. I started my career there. Then I moved to Canada. I was working for IBM and then Accenture. Then spent a while at some of the banks and with Deloitte, mostly in the data warehousing and analytics practice. Currently, I'm working with PwC, like managing their data and analytics clients across Canada.
That's great. Awesome. So the next question is that how did you guys, what differences did you see when you were working in Pakistan as compared to when you came to Canada and tried to pave a career over here? Sarah, again, you can go first.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest thing was the work culture. Pakistan में ये होता है कि आप first of all, आप जितना देर बैठ रहे हैं, people are thinking that you're working hard. Here, the focus is so much on productivity. You have to produce results no matter what time you show up at work, no matter what time you leave. Your results are important. चाहे आपने 2 घंटे काम करके 3 घंटे काम करके, if you have that kind of output, that's good enough. And that's what I really liked about Canada, working here. Or secondly, I would say equal opportunity as well. So in terms of my gender, so what I felt that more things were open to me, being a woman.
Right.
And yeah. So that's one of the biggest differences. And what I want to stress is this focus on productivity actually brings out the best in your employee. If you're just thinking about they have to be here 9 to 5, and someone who has the time and who doesn't have a family to go to can sit until 8 p.m., they are being promoted, they are getting all the
right.
And so that's what I find, that here I can finish my work in 3 hours and then spend time with my kids. Even then, and that's good enough, because if I've done my work, if I am productive enough, that doesn't matter.
Right. So do you feel that यहाँ पर the results are tied and results are measured as compared to Pakistan, where we focus on more extrinsic factors and how the relationship with people at work are, and that influences the biggest decision, which is how much productivity you are generating? Okay. Sarah, you can go next.
I haven't worked in Pakistan much. Like I only did a co-op, like internship there. So I don't have much to say in that sense, but I would say, like, generally from a person who is early in their career, from a internship point of view, I'd say that like people here are given more substantial projects as compared to back home. Like they're like, no one takes you seriously if you are a student or like just doing a 2 or 3 months co-op there. So in that sense, I feel like when I see the co-ops here in different companies, they are given more substantial projects and like are getting proper mentorship. So that's a good thing.
Great. And Yasser, what about you? What was your experience like?
Yeah, I've done a little bit like internship work in Pakistan. The problem वही है, हमारा एक cultural aspects like women's के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा problem है वहाँ पे
Mhm.
और main चीज़ ये dedication like I don't see much dedication in people like because of that 9 to 5 culture ये हमें इतना time spend करना है like, here it's more about productivity I can work from anywhere I want even if I spend a couple of hours and my work is done nobody cares right?
Right.
So that's a cultural shift that we have to make. I think for a long time we have been just, following that 9 to 5 culture. And after COVID, I think it's changing as well. People are realizing like just spend कर रहे थे वो time किसी productive जगह पे उससे half time spend करते तो it should be more feasible.
I have an observation, and probably I'll base my question on that observation. So basically, I feel like in Pakistan, what happens is that the way people are brought up, we take a lot of insights or a lot of direction from the people who are older than us in the families, or those are the role models we have. So whatever they dictate in our lives, we just accept it rather than thinking and challenging it, because culture है ही नहीं ना challenge करने का.
Exactly.
So उसमें होता है कि जो कह रहा है वो सुन लो, and then you start doing it. And that translates into the corporate environment as well in our professional lives, where we just do things without questioning or without reasoning. And that's why nothing is tied to results but extrinsic factors. So do you guys think that's the reason, or what?
Exactly.
That's part
And
of it.
like,
That's something
yeah.
Cool. Okay. So the next one is I'll focus more towards how you guys established your careers, which is when did you get your biggest break? Or what was the point where you realized that this was when my career took a next turn, or that was big for me?
So for me, I'll start because I think we are going in that order. Okay, so for me, I've had two big breaks, and first one was right out of NAD from school. My final year project was actually based on GSM and UMTS networks, so that's why I very quickly, like before even graduating, I was hired in UFON. So that was one big break, and it was a good thriving career. Did a lot of trainings in Pakistan. There's a trend of sending people out for trainings with France, England, and places like that.
Right.
So that was going well, but then I got off track, got married, had kids. So that was done. So I took some time to raise kids and build my family. After that, the big break came out during my master's. So when I did my co-op with this telco, which I'm with right now. So during the co-op, some things happened. Like some of the things as Sarah Farooq Said mentioned, that here students are given a lot of opportunity to prove themselves, and that's exactly what happened. I was given a project that I worked on all by myself, and got a chance to prove myself. So that led to this role that I'm in right now.
Awesome. Sarah, you?
I would say like both my jobs that I got after graduation here, like whether it was in the bank and the telco, that would be my big break. I would say I'm too early in my career to say that I have like gotten the biggest break, but yeah.
Cool. Yasser, what about you?
Yeah, so my biggest break was when I was moving from Australia. So I was stuck with just one company there, like Nestle, for a while. फिर पाकिस्तान गया फिर मैंने वहाँ से सर्टिफिकेशन करी SAP के अंदर Siemens कराती थी उस टाइम पे not sure about now and I moved towards like more like sales and distribution and materials management और फिर उसको करने के बाद the first break I got was in Canada with one of the biggest retail companies Loblaw. तो IBM के साथ था मैं उनके SAP practice में और वो first project था that I got break. I really liked working with data that time. फिर उसी को continue करते and I move forward. I think that was the biggest break.
Cool, awesome. So next question is more around technical infrastructure and talent building. So what are some common challenges that you guys face in the industry in terms of data sciences, and how the talent is emerging in the industry, and how tools are dedicated or how infrastructure is being built. So we can talk relatively from Pakistan's perspective and have a comparative outlook on what's going on in Canada as well. Sarah, again, you're the first one to go.
Okay, so I'll start with because I was in more data-oriented role in Pakistan as well. So at that time, there was absolutely no infrastructure in there. So a lot of my automated reporting was based on VBA, Visual Basic, on Excel. So and some cron jobs that we could set up just to generate those reports automatically. But coming to my current role, there's some structure where we can actually work on the fancy algorithms that we learn in school and all that can be set up. But still, there's a long way to go because I think the data picture overall is changing so fast that nothing stays relevant for a long time.
So
for
true.
me personally, as a data scientist, the team I'm in is about convincing people that what you've done is of value. For example, there's a project that I've been working on where I am predicting whether a user is going to call in for a complaint based on the slow speeds they're getting. So that the model was easy to train. It was done very quickly, but the problem was building the process around it. And for that, we had to talk to the client support teams, to our design and engineering teams, and all of them. And for to prove to them that the model is actually good, every time I would get, because people don't have that understanding of if I am saying that in technical terms, yes, the model has good accuracy, it has good precision, good recall, it's good enough. That's not enough. I have to prove in a lot of different ways that yes, this is something useful. This is what people are doing now, and it's actually producing good results. There's one meeting, which is a weekly meeting, where I have to talk about the same model, and then the same question keeps coming up and I have to answer that. And then, yeah, the model works. There are no thresholds because it's a machine learning model. So the journey basically for me, it has been more to convince people, yes, we are now going this way. We are now using machine learning to do our analytics. So yeah, that's
and this was in Pakistan.
No, this is here. This is
here. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask Yasser first, and then Sarah, if you have any comments, you can add to it.
Okay.
Sure. I think the biggest challenge what I see is, as Sarah Opal said, like the people have like a lot of different perceptions about machine learning and algorithms, and it's really difficult for a data scientist to explain them in a technical and business actor way. Or we major gap out there. Basically, there's a lot of data sitting all around us, right? But how to monetize that data, how to build those pipelines, like those data pipelines, how to connect those systems. Like जितने भी clients पे जाते हैं हम, उधर बहुत सारे उनके पास legacy systems भी पड़े हैं, कोई Oracle use कर रहा है, कोई Teradata use कर रहा है. And then first we had to do the knowledge transfer, like how this all will work on a big data platform. Like columnar databases कैसे work करेंगे, आपका analytics किस तरह होगा, आप pipelines जो वो data की बनाओगे, आप कैसे होगा, आपके daily job loads होंगे, आपकी weekly jobs run होंगी. So the major जो gap आता है वो these pipelines don't exist, especially in Pakistan. We have this whole chunk of data. There's so many people there who are generating like amazing data every day, every second. Like, in how to monetize on it. Like PTCL would be doing, written a lot of data, all these companies, utilities companies. लेकिन अब हमें वहाँ पे इंट्रोड्यूस कराने की किस तरह उस प्लेटफॉर्म में आप वो डेटा लेकर आओगे. तो इतने अच्छे ओपन सोर्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स भी पड़े हैं हमारे पास, like Hortonworks, and we have licensed solution, enterprise level cloud. Then on top you can use any cloud platform. Azure है हमारे पास product, AWS है Amazon से. So it has link with all of them, but right now I see in Pakistan we have to do a lot of knowledge transfer. what we have learned from here, for startups, right, they can't afford these costly systems. तो आप
True.
किस तरह ओपन सोर्स अपाची टूल्स यूज कर सकते हो, किस तरह आप एक सिंगल नोड क्लस्टर खड़ा कर सकते हो एंड एक्सपैंड इट टू अ मल्टी नोड क्लस्टर. तो ये सारी चीजें पॉसिबल है. मैं अपने ब्लॉग्स पे भी शेयर करता रहता हूँ. अभी मैं स्टूडेंट्स को भी पढ़ा रहा था पाकिस्तान में, जस्ट लाइक फॉर माय ओन इंटरेस्ट इन Ramadan I started. Or I was getting really good feedback. They have a lot of talent, but there's no guidance, like where to start from. तो अगर इस तरह का जैसे अब ये forum हो रहा है, it's really good. Like people will get an understanding which things to focus on. Because it's such a huge industry, right? You have to make sure you're focusing in the right direction, what your interests are. Even if we talk about big data, it's a huge industry. Like you can become a data scientist, you can become a data engineer, you can just be a data wrangler, right? Data analysis कर सकते हैं, आप reporting analyst बन सकते हैं.
Right.
So I think these things should be like, we need more collaboration from overseas to Pakistan and transfer that
knowledge over here. That is so true. Sarah, I'll take your comments and then I'll come back to Yasser for another question. So
I don't have much experience in Pakistan to compare it with, but I would say, yeah, like from here point of view, I would say like the infrastructure and all is much more proper. But again, there are more traditional teams which need convincing, as Sarah mentioned. Like, okay, like you have worked on this particular model and it's going to predict this, then they need to be convinced that this is going to work and they should adopt like whatever we are reporting and analyzing the data. So, yeah.
Right. Yasser, coming back to you, what do you think should be an ideal process to go around this if you have to build the talent, tools, and infrastructure in Pakistan? Big question, but
yeah, I would say if let's first divide the industry, right? The whole domain. अगर आप देखें इसको, जब भी मैं explain करता हूँ, like think in terms of like you have an open slate. These are your source systems, and you have to move all of them to your new systems, right? The legacy to new systems. और जो वो बीच में pipeline है, data pipeline, that's what we have to create. So if you are a software engineer, I would say start learning about data engineering. Things like, you can use Python, you can use Script, you can use a lot of different open source Apache tools. फिर आप databases की तरफ आते हैं, उस data को आप एक form देते हैं, एक उसको picture देते हैं, you create the schema out of it, right? Then you start creating those tables and giving it substance, right? तो ये भी data engineer का role होता है. तो वो tables बनाते हैं, put all this amazing data in columnar databases. Then on top of that, once you start giving them, all your data scientists can use that data, your business can use it, then your reporting analysts. So ये तीन chunks में I see this industry is divided, like data engineering, data science, and reporting. So I think first make your mind where you see yourself fit for that role. If you have a software engineering or engineering background, data engineering would be really good. Machine learning or data science also. If you have stats, math, and you can always learn these things. So जिसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट है उसमें कोशिश करें जाने की. फिर आपके पास इतनी सारे पोर्टल्स अवेलेबल हैं, लाइक Coursera है आपके पास, Udemy है. इसमें like courses are like $15-20, right? बहुत सारे free courses भी हैं. You can start learning like basics. और जो forums हैं आपके Facebook पे groups हैं, बहुत सारे LinkedIn पे groups हैं. You can join them and ask questions. There are a lot of people who are really happy to help out young people. Or you can add people on LinkedIn. I think that's where the problem is. Like we are only focused on the university level education, right?
yeah.
But जैसे वो student बाहर आते हैं university से, real world is totally different, right? और यहाँ पे यही difference है कि वो university के time पे ही आपको train कर रहे होते हैं projects के ऊपर, like your internships programs, और आपको rotation में जो कराते हैं आपके management trainees जो होते हैं. So you learn a lot about those industries.
One comment I would like to add here, it's exactly, that's the right point Yasser has said. The graduates who come out of university already have a fully working GitHub, which is showing them, which is showcasing their projects. They have their blog pages where they have been writing some Medium articles already from during school. So that's something we should work towards.
Like मेरे पास इतने students आते हैं, like fresh grads, और वो LinkedIn के through add करते हैं. They already have their profile, a really professional resume. और वही मैं पाकिस्तान में देखता हूँ कि हम इतना लैक करते हैं इन चीज़ों में. मतलब मैं खुद जब
गाइडेंस ही
यूनिवर्सिटी
नहीं
में
है.
था, हाँ, कोई गाइडेंस नहीं थी. अच्छा, पूरी दुनिया जो कर रही है, you just follow the herd, right?
और वो भी
तो
नहीं पता कि पूरी दुनिया कर क्या रही है, मसला ये है.
और बच्चों से वहाँ पूछा नहीं जाता कि किस में इंटरेस्ट है, या उनको एक्सपीरियंस कराएं वो इंडस्ट्रीज ना. अगर किसी को इंजीनियर बनना है तो शो देम दोज इंडस्ट्रीज, हाउ पीपल आर वर्किंग. और इफ यू वांट टू बी अ पायलट, शो देम द एयरलाइन एंड एक्सपीरियंस अ डे देयर. तो ये चीजें बहुत डिफरेंट है. अब मेरे बच्चे यहाँ पढ़ रहे हैं, मैं देख रहा हूँ किस तरह स्कूलिंग का डिफरेंट है. हमारे यहाँ नहीं है जो कि, और यूनिवर्सिटीज में जो कजन्स पढ़ते हैं, तो लाइक दे गेट एक्सपोजर टू द मार्केट pretty soon. I think that's what we're lacking back home.
Right. And in terms of, it's a big question, so Sarah, I'll come to you after this. But what do you see in terms of infrastructure and tools? So tools आपने highlight के training tools for fresh graduates. But what about professionals, and what is the stack that they are using, and how do you see is it different from people over here in Canada or abroad that they are using?
That's for me, Marie?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
I
just
would say
building on
अगर आप
that question.
professional हैं तो I suppose you already have that knowledge, right? You don't have to start from scratch.
Mhm.
So take your domain where you're working in, then see the market trends where they're going, right? अगर आप professional हैं तो you would know, like, Alteryx is going really hot in the market for data wrangling, data manipulation. So do some free courses. All these softwares have trial versions. At least 30 days का तो trial version हर कोई देता है. Then start learning on cloud technologies. Azure का account बना लें आप, 90 days का आपको तो मिल जाता है subscription. You'll learn a lot about cloud, deploying a VM on cloud, how to set up machines, how to set up different environments. और ये सारी चीजें यहाँ पे भी, मतलब बहुत सारी companies training formal नहीं कराती. They'll just expect you, go learn it on your own. You have
Yeah.
amazing platform. Like मैं CIBC बैंक में था. I was working as an architect. और next day मैं एक दिन गया तो मुझे पता चला कि मुझे उनका Azure का पूरा administration संभालनी थी. So I was nervous, right? लेकिन फिर क्या हुआ कि फिर go watch videos, learn by yourself, start practicing, and you learn a lot once you're doing it. तो मैं ये नहीं कहता कि सिर्फ theoretically भी करें. Theoretical you should know, but at the same time when you're practicing,
Mm-hmm.
आपकी रहेंगी वो skills, और फिर उसी को पढ़ाएं आप students को. So then it will be like, like you'll be shining in a couple of months.
Great, awesome. Sarah, now the same question to you.
Sarah, right?
Yes, me, Sarah.
Right. Yeah. So I would like to just continue what Yasser has been saying. He's mentioned some great points. He's saying, learn all these things, and the most important is that you showcase it. So I know you can put something on your resume and your LinkedIn. That's all right, but you need to have a GitHub. I realized that quite late in my master's that my GitHub plays an important role when I apply for a job. They're gonna look me up on GitHub that what sort of projects I've been working on.
Yep.
So if you are learning, doing a course, have a repository, just write link to that. And then also another good way of showcasing it from a lot of fellow students that I've seen. I don't have that, but they have this amazing website where they are showcasing their machine learning models. If you are going towards data science, for example, if you've trained an NLP model, you can just have a GUI for it on your webpage. I know there's so much talent in Pakistan with coding and creating web pages. It won't be that much to learn. There's so many resources, as Yasser mentioned. There's Udemy and there's Coursera, and I would like to point out edX. From edX, you can actually do MicroMasters, which are just about $800, and you get a degree from either UBC, from MIT, and this is called a MicroMasters degree. These are also amazing. Having all that knowledge and sitting on it is not enough. Showcasing it is actually where you can show off your work. Don't be worried about bragging. You have to brag about your work to let employers take you seriously.
Great, awesome. Sarah, Farah, do you have any comments to add?
I would just mention two more platforms. So there is one more, Udacity, where you can do nano degrees in data science, data engineering, and also that is really good as well. And then like when I started my career in data science, so I took a lot of, I would say, like small courses on Data Camp. So that from there it's a good start, and then eventually you can move toward bigger courses on Udemy and Udacity.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing these tools. Again, Yasser, a question for you. How do you think Pakistan and other South Asian countries start building their infrastructure in data sciences?
Yeah, really good question, Mariam. I would say infrastructure depends. Like you have to do your assessment first. Where are you right now? So for a startup, the infrastructure will be totally different as compared to an enterprise who has like a couple of thousands of people, right? And they must already have something in place. But as startup, like first of all, you will assess like what are your needs, how you can utilize your data that you're creating, how you can make it a good customer experience, right? Like there's small tools, small coding you can do. Like I created a small like Python script for like doing sentiment analysis. That was my big data, like machine, like data science learning. I use NumPy and other like couple of libraries and did some sentiment analysis. So उसका reason क्या था कि I was producing some results, right? I was seeing, okay, these branches were giving really good customer service. Some customers had really big issues in certain branches, and we plot on some, bar charts to just show it business, and the customer service team messed it up. So I would say to build that infrastructure, first of all, you need a platform. You can build that platform open source, going totally open source, or like अगर आप जैसे मैंने पहले बताया क्लस्टर सेट करना चाह रहे हैं तो आप Apache के सारी tools available हैं, free of charge हैं. You just need couple of Linux machines. You can use Ubuntu, CentOS, and deploy that.
Right.
It will be totally open source, no licensing required, nothing. But अगर आपकी बड़ी company है, you want an enterprise level solution, आपको हर चीज graphical अच्छे कोई interface पे चाहिए, so you have Cloudera as a big data platform. Even on cloud you can deploy, but then again cost सारी चीजें आ जाती है. Cloud costs are different, how to manage them, optimize your performance cost. But I would say first do your assessment, and then like whether I'll go for open source, whether I'll go for paid solution. With that, I get total support. If I go totally open source, I need enough technical resources to manage that. क्योंकि लेअप करना खाली नहीं होता, उसके ऊपर मैनेज करना 24/7 सपोर्ट देना जब आपकी डेली जॉब्स रन हो रही हैं उसके ऊपर. So you need like dedicated support, big enterprise level. Startups go, they don't need that much support, but still you need at least one admin to manage your data. Then you assess your data, like मेरा किधर से data आ रहा है, कौन से systems के useful data है. Start determining, is it my cold data, is it my hot data. Cold इस सूरत में कि मैं archive कर सकता हूँ, मैं use नहीं कर रहा, सिर्फ मैं maintain कर रहा हूँ for tax purposes, और मैं एक बैंक हूँ, मैं regulatory authorities data मेरे पास होना चाहिए. So go understand your data, and see where the monetization and benefit you can achieve from which data.
Right.
अगर मैं उसको analysis करता हूँ, couple of months लगाता हूँ, और in the end मुझे कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा, why wouldn't I do a smart way, get some data that requires less manipulation and quick reporting on it. तो ये सारी चीजें हमें मतलब करनी पड़ती हैं assess as अभी भी जब हम PwC से जाते हैं as a management consulting, that's our first goal, like to understand your current situation, your pain points, आपको किधर मसला हो रहा है, आपकी customer service issues है, आपकी product में issues हैं, या आप data नहीं control कर पा रहे, तो उसको सही तरह manage नहीं कर पा रहे, तो वो समझने के बाद आप इन चीजों.
Great. That gives us a lot of perspective. Sarah, same question for you. Sarah.
Yeah. So I agree with a lot of points that Yasser has made. Having the right, because I build on top of the infrastructures that are there. I am useless if there's no data. So if you are hiring a fancy data scientist, you need to first think about you want to go in dabble your feet in the world of AI and machine learning. Before doing any of that, you need to spend at least a couple of years building the right data pipeline, because a data scientist is going to cost you a lot and cannot do anything if there's not. You can maybe have a chunk of data and try to train the model. Now you need to put that model into production. For that, such pipelines which are optimized and have the proper infrastructure to actually plug in your model and produce some output that is useful to the company, that base is required. And for that, I totally agree with all the points Yasser has mentioned. Yeah.
Great. Sarah, Farooq, do you have any comments to add?
No, not really.
Not
I agree
really.
with what. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to our next question, which is, what is the most memorable thing from your career or a project that you worked on and is related to data sciences? Anyone who wants to go first?
For me, the most, I can start. Oh, sorry, Sarah, did I cut you off?
No. I was just saying I have to think about it.
Right. For me, it happened during a consulting job that we did for the city of Vancouver. So the ask was to basically, because if anyone has been to Vancouver or anyone of you know that parking here sucks. So parking ka bahut masla hai, and it is over monetized. I mean, they charge so much, and
Vancouver itself is so expensive.
Yes, definitely. And parking is like at the top of the pyramid. So
we're happy with Toronto for now.
Actually, the city of Vancouver, their target for 2020 or for 2030 and 2040 is that they want to have half the number of cars they have currently, because they're so green. They don't want cars on the roads. So they do a lot of different things. They have a lot of different measures that they're working towards, like motivating people for biking, making bike lanes, making the roads smaller, making parking expensive. So one of our jobs was to actually take the parking data and just their ask was to just make an app where people can see in real time that where parking is available and where it will be cheaper and stuff like that. But we were 7 graduate students who were working on it, and start हम इस app के idea से हुए, और over the course of that course that we were working on, like 4 months or 5 months, उसमें ये हुआ कि जो है the ask shifted. So मुझे पहले कभी भी experience नहीं था कि जो है कैसे अपने आप को turn कर लेना है based on like these agile terms, because when people are asking what they want, they don't really know what they want themselves. So usme we took the lead and we totally changed the project, and actually it turned out to be क्योंकि उनको ये करना था कि जो on street parking meters हैं, they wanted to get rid of them. So ultimately the project was completely different, and we trained a neural network model which was predicting from your location where you are, is it cheaper and faster to park off street, or is it cheaper and faster to park on street? And most of the times what we found that went against the common expectation, log samajhte hain ki on street park karna is faster and it is actually cheaper, but most of the times if you go park in a parkade, in a parking building, that was much cheaper in Vancouver. So if people, 30% of traffic in Vancouver is caused by people. We analyze that, and then it's people looking for parking on street. They're wasting their time looking for on street. So we presented that to the city hall, to the city as well, and we presented to a lot of people. It gained a lot of traction, and we have a paper coming out for that. Wow. So it should be published soon. So that's really memorable, because how the ask was, what they wanted, and what it turned into was more useful for them. So never be afraid to take the lead on the, like, what's the deliverable.
Right.
With the data world being so new to so many people don't realize what can come out of what they have. They have such amazing data, and they don't know what to do with it. So as a data scientist, always take the lead on what you can extract out of the data.
That is definitely a very cool project. And Yasser, I'll come to you with a question, but also can we build something similar for Toronto then?
Yeah, of course.
We're counting on you now.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity actually. Our PwC अभी हमारी companies आते हैं अभी COVID से related. So everybody's super busy with COVID related stuff like अभी vaccinations की और जो curb benefits वगैरह हैं उनको manage करने की काफी हो रहा है. But this is amazing, opportunity for Toronto.
We'll steal your idea one day, Sarah. Don't worry.
Yeah. I see some comments in the live section.
Yeah, I'm going to take those questions towards the end, but I just wanted to hear your views about what was a memorable project for you in data sciences and how did you deal with it or what was it about? So just after this, I'll take the questions.
Sure. So I haven't been much involved with data science projects. Usually I was working as data engineer, architecting the solutions and basically deploying those platforms. One of the I have a couple of interesting projects. Like I worked for a nuclear plant, Ontario Power Generation. So I went there.
The one which sends us Amber Alerts?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. So that was a crazy project. Every time we entered that building and came out, they would weigh us on a microgram scale. So if you don't have any radioactive material on your body, that was a scary experience. They have their own police patrol dogs like in the parking lot. So I was scared the first time we went there. But in terms of data, building those pipelines, building those platforms, right? Fun projects were like with Ontario Lotto Group. यहाँ पे Lotto बहुत common है आपने देखा होगा. So they had so much data, which they were utilizing those legacy systems. Their data is still sitting on DB2. There was data in Oracle, and they couldn't do analysis on it. और बहुत ज़्यादा requirement थी कि fraud reduction. क्योंकि Lotto के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, और there are several customers who their tickets get lost and they start claiming that price and all that. So we implemented a Cloudera on-prem system for them. It was really good experience, and the value they could see right away as soon as we went live. It was amazing, because that data was sitting around, spread across the organization. उसको एक जगह लेकर आना, फिर उसका एक almost 360 view बना के देना उनको. They were really happy. Customer की कुछ information किसी department में थी, कुछ information किसी और department. To merge all of that together and out was that value. They could monetize it on it pretty quickly. So वो बहुत interesting project था. अब वही होता है कि आप जैसे आप assessment करते हैं ना किसी भी client की, so for some client it makes sense, for some client it won't even make sense, right? कि आपके पास इतना data नहीं है, but you heard from somewhere, oh, big data is going crazy, and once we implement it, we'll just get ahead of all our competitors. But you have to assess yourself: am I on that level? Am I creating that kind of data, that amount of data? So 4 V's होते हैं इसके अंदर ना, जैसे हम volume, veracity, variety, or one more I think. So you have to see if you're generating enough volume, enough variety of data, enough veracity of data to make sure that I need that. So, क्योंकि अगर मेरा बहुत छोटा सा एक startup, I can still manage it through my normal system, right? So I don't want to spend my energy and money on some. That's like putting like a 1,000 horsepower engine in a bike, right?
Yeah.
So ये सारी चीजें देखनी पड़ती हैं
And
जब
then you
assess
suggest
करते हैं.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. Sarah Farooq, I know you're at a very initial start, or you're at a very start of your career, but anything that you worked on and you think it was memorable, you can definitely share with us.
So most of my initial and current data science projects have been related to work, so I can't go much into details, but I worked on one project in particular in which I had to deal with the geolocation data. So basically it was just trying to categorize all the different sectors for different cell sites, whether they most of the unsatisfactory sectors where calls are dropping and stuff, whether it is in urban or rural areas. So it was basically to classify them. So that was one of the cool projects that I worked on, and I got to work with like different geolocation related Python libraries. So yeah, that was a good learning experience.
Great. I'll translate this question into a more specific question for you, Sarah Farooq, which is, what is your advice for fresh graduates from Pakistan who are trying to build a career for them locally and internationally as well?
I would say first maybe find a mentor in the industry, because they can guide you in a really good way, especially whether you're interested in like software side or want to go into data science or anything. So having a mentor in the industry would be really helpful and beneficial. And secondly, I would say, like, once you start your job, wherever it is, ask a lot of questions. Like, I was like that. Like, I initially, when I started my first job, I was really shy and I won't ask much questions. So I would say ask a lot of questions, even if you are thinking that this question seems like a really stupid one, or like, what would my team members say? Just ask it. Like, there's no question that is, I would say, dumb. And the third thing that I would say is that, like, don't waste your summer vacations. Do a certification, do some online course, or try to find a co-op or internship or something. But like, try to make some use of it. Don't just like waste your time away. I did that and I still regret it. So I would say, like, don't waste it.
Great, awesome. And how do you suggest that people can find mentors in Pakistan and abroad? Is there any tool,
On my
medium?
particular case, I would say, like, we like, as I'm from NAS, so we have a really strong alumni presence. So I found most of my mentors there through the alumni network. And then again, like, for example, if you've already done some internship or a co-op during your school, you can reach out to your previous team members or something. So yeah, and like, usually when you are in school, like, you have like seniors who would be in the industry by the time you graduate, so you can contact them if you know them, something like that.
Great, awesome. Sarah and Yasser, do you guys have any advice for fresh graduates who are trying to build a career in data sciences?
Yep, go ahead, sir.
Yep. So as I've been saying, that you might have done a lot of work. The most important part is showcasing it. So it should be everywhere on your LinkedIn. Again, GitHub, same thing. And then have some web pages built around it to showcase. Even if you're a web developer, a portfolio is so important. So why not for data science? You need to have a data science portfolio where you've done some NLP, some computer vision, some normal machine learning and stuff. So that goes a long way, actually.
Great.
Yeah, exactly as Sarah said. Like, I would say, like, be your first, like, point that anyone sees, like any company sees, is your resume. Like, Pakistan में बहुत important. Like, focus करना चाहिए हमें resume. Go for professional resume building services, or showcase all your things that you have been doing. Even if you're building like a gaming PC, I see a lot of teenagers, like my cousins, they build some amazing like gaming system. So just showcase them. I learned about networking. I learned about hardware, doing that stuff. It's a small project like that. I created some code and that would fetch files in my computer, right? So a lot of students do that during their university college year. और वो showcase करें आप, क्योंकि employers know like you're fresh out of college, right? So they want to see like how much diversity you have in terms of technology usage or in terms of your interest. So you can easily adjust anything.
Great, awesome. So now we have like 15 minutes left for this session. I'll take the questions that we have in the comment section. The first question is, how can I get benefit from Canada's e-commerce as I'm in PK and no one in Canada is related to me?
Okay, I can take this.
Sure,
So I've done few e-commerce startups, right? Some of them succeeded, some of them failed, and best part ये है, आप अगर e-commerce में आना चाहते हैं पाकिस्तान से, so there are two big portals. Like Amazon is the biggest portal for North America. Then आपके पास eBay है जो कि global portal है. So first of all, you need a product, and then you need to brand that product. Right? आपने अपना brand name बनाना है, आपने उसकी marketing करानी है, आपने उसकी packaging करनी है, and then make a deal with someone local here. Like आप LinkedIn पे और Facebook पे reach कर सकते हैं. बहुत सारे groups हैं जो Amazon drop shipping करते हैं. Amazon, like you can have your own product and then sell through them. उनके पास Amazon के accounts भी हैं, so you can utilize them. You just have to reach out to the right audience. तो ये Facebook groups आप join करें जो e-commerce से related category के अंदर है, और Amazon पे अपनी selling strategies learn करें. YouTube पे thousands of videos पढ़ी हैं कि किस तरह मैं अपना brand name दे सकता हूँ, उसकी packaging कैसे करा सकता हूँ, how can I sell on YouTube, create a seller account, right?
Mhm.
And then you can dispatch those products to any Canadian local seller, और वो आपके Amazon warehouse में चली जाती है product, and then it's automated. Then Amazon responsible to sell it. You just manage your customer feedback, reviews.
That's perfect. Sarah, what's your advice? Or if you have one?
I don't have much comments.
And neither Sarah Farooq?
No.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so somebody's asking us that please share the tools you mostly use in solving data sciences projects that you have been working on, which I think you guys have shared throughout the session. But if you could just summarize it in a few words, that would be great. Yasser, we can go with you first, and then Sarah can contribute to it.
Okay. So for data science, you mean like entire from like the total data domain, or just data science? I
So
think
any of the
I'll
projects.
share all these tools.
Sorry.
First of all is your platform, right? You have to see either you're using cloud or you're using your on-prem systems. Cloud, you have AWS, you have Microsoft Azure, you have Google Cloud Platform, or a few others. But these are the three major players:
Mhm.
Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So ये तो आपका platform हो गया. On top of that, the tools you will need to do these jobs like data science work is basically Anaconda framework होता है. Sarah can tell it better in the data science work. तो उसके अंदर Jupyter notebooks होती हैं. उस पे ज़्यादातर आप लिख देते हो. और secondly, understand the databases, Oracle की knowledge लें, SQL की knowledge लें, किस तरह data move हो रहा है. Data manipulation की तरफ आते हैं तो open source tools में है Apache, Pig, जो कि data cleansing के लिए भी use होता है, data loading के लिए भी use होता है. Hive एक columnar database है. ये सारे open source tools हैं. You can download from Apache website and upload on your machine, right? Machine. उसके बाद आपके ग्राफिकल या रिपोर्टिंग टूल्स आ जाते हैं जिसमें माइक्रोसॉफ्ट है टैब पावर बीआई,
Mhm.
जिसमें आप इजीली रिपोर्टिंग कर सकते हैं थ्रू जस्ट एक्सेल शीट्स और रॉ कैन गिव योर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर. टैबलू बहुत अच्छा टूल है, बट अगेन इट्स अ रियली कॉस्टली टूल एंड Microsoft Power BI desktop version is free, so you all can download and use it for free, right? और इस तरह के बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं. अदर देन दैट आपके पास ऑल्ट्रिक्स आ जाते हैं डेटा मैनिपुलेशन के लिए. बहुत हॉट है आजकल. जितनी भी डेटा क्लींजिंग हो रही है, जो एक्सेल में काम करते थे आप, अगर आपके एक्सेल में एक्सपर्ट हैं आप उससे भी कर सकते हैं. बट इफ यू नीड एक्सेल like 100 times more powerful, then you can go for Alteryx to like trial version. So once you have some knowledge on these tools, you will be really marketable. लाइक आप एज अ प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छी तरह आप इजीली आपको सेल कर सकेंगे आप इंटरनेशनल मार्केट. पाकिस्तान से बहुत लोग मिडिल ईस्ट जाते हैं, यूरोप जाते हैं. ये सारी मार्केट्स इज रियली ओपन फॉर यू. नॉर्थ अमेरिका एज वेल. लाइक इंडिया से इतने लोग आ रहे हैं, तो व्हाई डोंट वी हैव लाइक पीपल कमिंग फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. So I would say start learning. The more effort you put in, it will reap out. Don't look for like, I will be a data scientist in 10 days. No, you won't be, but keep on doing it. In 10 days, you'll learn a lot. You're one step ahead of your for those things.
Cool. Sorry, you were cracking a bit, so it's fine now. I can
Yep,
take the
that's
question
all
to Sarah.
from my side.
Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so like Yasser mentioned, one of the for data science, the most important tool is if you download the Anaconda distribution of Python,
Mm-hmm.
it will come loaded with a lot of libraries that you need for data science. And Jupyter Notebook is my go-to because that's so easy to see your results at every step. It's amazing. One thing I do want to mention, if you're trying to go into deep learning, and I know GPUs are expensive and setting them up is not that easy. So Google Colab is just like Jupyter Notebook,
Mm-hmm.
but it offers free GPUs that you can use. You can get as good as a 16 GB GPU that you can run your deep learning models on, and it's amazing. I've used that throughout my student life. I never got a GPU myself, and I've trained all sorts of models on it. So once it's trained, you can just save it and run it on your local installation of Jupyter. That and I do want to mention for information visualization, there's a very good library. I would say learn it. It's just it's like up and coming, Bokeh. So if you want to be on the information visualization side of data science, then you need to know the libraries that can actually visualize pretty good. And it's free. So that's one way to go. And yes, well, all of the tools that Yasser has mentioned, Tableau, there's also Splunk, but these are all expensive tools in terms that you cannot have access to without paying for them.
Mm-hmm.
With Splunk, there is some sort of way of downloading it as a local installation, but I think it for free. But I think it's not that powerful. But it is an interesting tool to learn. However, a lot of companies are using it. Apart from that, I think Sumaya answered this. Sumaya asked this question. So I just want to say, yes, there's so much representation in in graduate studies. There's so much representation of India and Bangladesh, especially in females. Not a lot of Pakistanis are coming. So I would say, girls, after your graduation, through your undergrad, look for master's degrees in Canada, Australia, or wherever. There is this very good program. If you have graduated from an engineering degree, there is this master's in engineering, which is comparatively easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And even for master's in applied science, where you actually get the funding to go there, that's also I mean, please look for those opportunities. And for PhD, you're completely funded. So having presence on internet with as data scientist like GitHub or all those things that I've been mentioning will also will improve your chances of getting into a good school as a completely funded student. You don't have to pay the tuition. So yes, have those goals. Move towards that, please. I feel so. I was talking to Sarah about this, that we keep seeing Bangladeshi girls, Indian girls there. Pakistani girls kahan hai yaar? Itni mushkil. Sarah mujhe mili. I was so excited. Yeah, she has followed that path. She has come from from university. She did her undergrad in Pakistan or master's karne yahan aayi hai. So please have
Everybody should have those goals on their list and pursue it, right? And we have a platform like PWIC, which is now creating more awareness about these things and is great. And just last 2 minutes left, so I don't want to miss any questions, but I want to take one word answer for this question that Sumaya has asked us on chat, which is which cloud vendor do you guys recommend, which is AWS or Microsoft Azure?
I can take this. I would recommend both are at the same. Was the first player in the market, so Amazon was really mature when it came. उनकी बहुत सारे tools हैं, बहुत सारे great solutions and tools हैं. But Azure is picking up as well at a very fast pace. Microsoft is offering really nice credits when you go for a subscription. So they both are pretty much on the same level. AWS, I would say, is still leading cloud.
Great, awesome. Sorry, I'll cut you here,
And then
Yasser.
Microsoft.
We have just 1 minute left and I have to
Sure.
wrap this up. So I would like to thank all our speakers here for taking out the time and enlightening all of us with their views and also sharing such informative stuff with our audience. I also want to thank Global Pakistan Tech Summit for giving us this opportunity to come here and present our views. And lastly, I'm enormously thankful to PWIC for giving all the girls a chance to take up careers in STEM and also giving all of us the opportunity to be a part of such a great platform. So with this, I would like to wrap up the event. And thanks so much, guys, for coming in. And thanks to our audience as well for watching this session. We will be dropping our
Thanks.
LinkedIn
Thanks,
profiles or social media contacts on the chat. So you guys can stay tuned to all the channels that we are live on right now. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.